Look out. Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sportswriter Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Welcome in. Thanks for joining us for another Under the Bus, where we, three old guys, throw some people under the bus, and we got, boy, you better clear out some room because we got some folks to throw under.
Sure.
Alongside Curry Kirkpatrick, Hall of Fame sports writer from Sports Illustrated, and Rich Basirico, Hall of Fame high school basketball coach. I'm Bob Stevens. We are sponsored by, we got to get that out of the way right off the bat, Hudson's on the Docks, Hilton Head Island, fabulous seafood restaurant. Go there if you're coming down this way for classic, traditional, low country seafood.
Old school
stuff,
restaurant.
Old school stuff. And yet out on the docks, it's a new school view of sunsets and all that good stuff on the island. And that you can even jump into the water and cool off because, gosh, it's been hot here in the southeast. All right. We're coming off the All-Star game. That's why we're a day late doing the show. We wanted to make sure we got the All-Star experience. I'm throwing the Texas Rangers, the host team, under the bus for allowing horses to go back and forth across the outfield during the pregame. I know horses. Horses can create problems. They were very lucky.
Did they have anybody fall behind?
That's what I'm saying. Stuff could have happened. Could you imagine Aaron Judge having to play center field and dodging horse pies while he chases fly balls and getting hurt, and your Yankees would have been done. And it would have been all.
I never thought we'd have the word horse pies on our podcast.
We did it in the first couple of minutes. Yeah.
Well,
so I'm
what do you think of the
the
home run derby, though? That's the day before.
Right.
Now they have this home run derby, which they've had forever.
Right. I'm not a real fan of it.
It's dying. This thing's dying.
Well, because the two guys that should have been in it, and the only two that should have been in it, are Ohtani and Judge.
They
should have had the two of them.
Just do it. I would like that.
It should be in the players' contract. If they ask you,
Ohtani and Judge have to be, if they're going to have it.
Yeah.
But I equate it with the NBA dunk contest.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are past their prime. They're like wounded dogs. You should take them in the back and just shoot them and get rid of it. It's just. I mean, if they're going to have
Kristi
it,
Noem, he gets a little politics. There you go.
If they're going to have it, they add rules every year to make it better. They went over the rules. It took them half an hour to go over all the rules the other night before anybody even got up to play. And nobody understands the rules. No. They went time. They went number of pitches.
How far you hit the ball? How far you hit the ball? You get a bonus. Get another out.
It's a joke.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think it messes. I think Judge is not in because I think it messes up your swing because they're constantly lifting and hitting
guys
up.
Have done that.
And I think
guys have
fewer and fewer stars are going to the.
But why are they not? I think because they feel it messes up their swing.
Yeah. Teoscar Hernandez gets voted to the All-Star team. He actually gets voted to start the All-Star game. Nobody knows who he is, even though he's a Dodger, for crying out loud. He's probably the 8th most popular Dodger, and he wins the home run derby. Congratulations to him.
Well, this thing was, of course, jinxed before it even started. I mean, I was in the kitchen getting ready for the home run derby, and I hear this wailing, this screaming wail like a wounded cat. I thought it was a cat. It was the national anthem.
Oh, my Lordy.
Being sung by Ingrid Andress. I mean, come on, who's a country star.
Right.
I know she's not a star anymore.
4-time nominated for Grammys.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to the serious part of it later, but, this thing went out on Twitter like crazy.
It was not good.
Somebody tweeted, "This is the worst thing to happen in America since Pearl Harbor." Pearl Harbor. I said, "Well, wait a minute. There's 9/11.
Yeah, I've been a few
There's
things.
January 6th. I mean, but it might be top 5 though. It might be top 5. I mean, it was awful.
Well, she came out and said she was drunk.
Well, that was the next day.
And now she's checked herself into rehab.
That was no surprise. I mean, as we're watching it, my sister texted me, "This girl is hammered." She's been, and she had this scraggly hair, and she looked like, I mean, it was terrible.
American League wins the All-Star game 5-3 on a homer by Duran.
We skipped my girl. You don't want to talk about Ingrid anymore?
You told the story unless you got another take on it.
Well, she went into the archives along with Carl Lewis, Roseanne Barr, my girl Fergie. In fact, somebody tweeted out that Ingrid Andress said Fergie hold my beer while I do this, which was great. Well, I don't know. Well, she's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
One more thing.
Yeah.
She's no relation to Ursula Andress, who I think you remember was a great Swedish beauty.
And did a fabulous job on the national anthem every time she sang.
Well, and she was Ursula.
Yeah.
Her aunt, maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe she was the first. She was the first Bond girl.
Yes.
She was
one of the first.
She was the first. She was Honey Ryder in Dr. No.
Right.
And then she made all these other great films later. One of my favorites, and I know Rich saw this, was Slaves of the Cannibal God. That was one of Ursula Andress' movies. I think we all, hearing this, we were all slaves of the Cannibal God. So you can go on.
That's right.
But she's checking herself into rehab.
Yes.
Yeah. She came out and said,
hopefully the good
I heard it's really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
What was in this girl's mind going on?
I have no
she's
idea.
drunk. She knows she needs. Sad story.
It's not like you can't find a country and western singer
somebody in the stands.
In Dallas. They did for the game.
That's right.
And he did a fine job.
Peg Hamilton could have come out from Hilton Net Prep and sang it.
She's terrific, exceptional. All right, but
move to the All-Star game.
The All-Star game.
Paul Skeens.
Paul Skeens was spectacular. It was all set up. They even had Livy Dunn wired. You even could hear her.
You couldn't hear until he made the last out. But there was so much built up, and then Soto gets on base so he can get Judge, and he points to Judge, which is great. I got you, and Judge gets up there, he bounces out. It was like in seconds. This great drama. Skeens against Judge was over.
That's baseball. The funny thing is why did, and again, this goes to throwing baseball under the bus for two reasons. Why they didn't tell Bruce Bochy, no, you gotta have Judge hit it in the first inning. Guarantee it. Have Soto hit second, have Judge hit third, take care of it.
That's right.
Because that's the drama people want to see. Make that happen. Nobody would have known. It could have happened. The other thing is the guys wearing those goofy uniforms.
Terrible uniforms.
Wear your home team's uniform.
They used to do that.
Absolutely.
They used to do that. Who made that rule? Who changed that? The commissioner?
That's bad marketing. That's for sure.
But then we have Ohtani come up and hit the home run. So that's great drama. 3-run home run. Crushed it. It was great because they showed Soto and Judge in the outfield kept looking up to where the ball went. And then they looked at each other. They looked at each other like, whoa. Every time he appears, the rest of his peers are just astounded by Shohei.
So true.
It's really kind of...
They were talking to Judge right before he hit it. They were saying, what do you think about Ohtani? And he was saying, he's the best. Next thing you know, boom, he's hitting it out.
Oh, he crushed it. Of course, then the American League came back.
The next time he gets up, your boy Mason Miller from the A's, who throws 101 averages, he struck out Ohtani, and in his next pitch he throws to Trey Turner 103.6, a record in the history of baseball.
So how much will the Yankees offer to get him to be the closer instead of Clay Holmes?
Clay Holmes. They need to get rid of Clay Holmes, for sure.
Who made the All-Star team, but fortunately for the American League did not pitch.
That's right.
But then the Red Sox guy, and everybody knows the Stars as Red Sox, where there are none. I mean, what's the guy's name, the infielder that didn't even play for the Red Sox in the All-Star game? It's the only guy I know. I can't remember his name now.
Devers.
He wasn't in the game. A guy named Duran hits the home run that wins the game. And, it lasts because it was hit in the fifth inning, 5-3. It ended like that. So that went on. It's all pitching in the All-Star.
And now it's all, everybody bring your closer, bring your best guy, and we'll just, after about 5 innings, we'll just run them all in on you.
And the Cleveland closer, Clase,
Emmanuel Clase,
who closed the All-Star game 2 years ago, I remember, by striking out the side in the last
10
inning.
pitches.
Almost
an
immaculate. And the other night, and now he's got pink pigtails.
You like those?
I like the pigtails. Purple? Were they purple?
Kind of a lavender, He's had those.
And he's pitching to Dela Cruz, who has pink spikes on. Did you see his pink shoes? They were great.
They were.
So it was purple against pink at the end of the game. That's the only reason I stayed around.
How great a player is Dela Cruz to be as fast as he is, wearing all that jewelry? Man,
he took it off. What would happen?
It's like Dion.
Yeah.
He's almost up to Dion's.
Dion, what's Dion doing as the host of the All-Star game?
The All-Star game for that.
Wearing his Colorado stuff.
As Dion used to call it, my Jew-ray.
Jew-ray.
He called him my Jew-ray.
My Jew-ray.
He must like Dela Cruz.
Which is the worst? This is the actual thing people are going to take out of this. What's the best and what's the worst All-Star game? Because the baseball All-Star game
are always big.
Is not. They're not particularly great.
Except when
boy, it's a whole lot better than the NFL. I mean, doesn't even have.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they might as well be playing flag football.
Go back to pitching the way it used to be in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Guys used to pitch three innings.
Yeah.
Who's the last guy to pitch 3 innings in the All-Star game? Come on, I got it. Trivia for you.
I don't know.
Juan Marichal.
Greg Maddux.
Greg Maddux.
Well,
he
Last guy to
could.
pitch
Probably
3.
did it on 12 pitches.
Yeah.
But that was standard for 3. They go 3 innings. That's the way it used to be.
Used to be.
And
The
they didn't
starter
really
used
use
to go.
They didn't use the closers. They used 3 guys go 3 innings.
Well, because that's a third of what he would normally pitch.
Right.
Now they use a guy for 1 inning because that's about a third of what he would normally pitch.
And people would have loved to see Skeens pitch at least 2.
Oh, easy.
Because then we get some more shots of Livy in the stands. And they call them the new power couple in sports. Livy Dunn. Did we identify her? Yes.
Yes, Livy Dunn. Yeah,
the gymnast.
She's a gymnast. Yeah.
Who has a commercial where she wears her beach clothes on, or her gymnast clothes on the beach.
Probably the highest.
Is that why you go to the beach every day?
Also,
I think she's the highest paid college athlete.
Yeah, she has about 8 million followers or something on the internet. And she just announced she's coming back to do gymnastics at LSU.
That's because they told her she was not going to be a first-round draft pick, so she's going back to school for one more year.
How many classes do you think Livy Dunn goes to? I mean, 0. More or less than Skeens went.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so this weekend, the second half of the season begins. Who do you like coming out of nowhere? Who's going to fold up the tents?
Well, you know, the Red Sox are playing really well. And the Mets are playing really well, which is kind of crazy because they started off both teams started off so slow. Yeah. And then the better teams, the Yankees, Philadelphia.
And they ended the
Baltimore.
first half pretty well, right? The Phillies, who've been called the best team in baseball history,
bombed the last game.
They got beat 18-3 by who? Oakland?
8 home runs.
Oakland had 8 home runs.
That's Philly has the best pitching staff.
It's baseball.
It's baseball. It's baseball. Watch out for Houston in the American League. Yeah, they're finally getting it together, and they're coming. And then National League. You know, the Braves have been kind of laying in the weeds. They're hanging around. And they probably want to do the Philadelphia thing the opposite way this year. Okay, let us be the underdog.
Right.
And we'll I think the Phillies are too good for anybody. I think they're too good for everybody.
So you think they're the greatest team of all time?
Well, somebody said that the other day. You know, I don't know if that's true, but I think they're the best team in baseball now.
They're pretty good.
I don't think they're going to be upset in the playoffs.
Well, if you go by how many people made the All-Star team, I mean, almost our whole team made it.
They almost had the whole infield.
I know.
It was great. They had him on the boxes. You see him talking and stuff.
Which is cool.
Bryce Harper has turned into, to me, one of the faces of baseball.
Yeah.
I used to think he was a punk for many years because he was brash and he said all this stupid stuff. But he's really become almost a baseball statesman now. You know.
No, they have a very good team.
But speaking of statesmen, how about tennis?
Yes.
Last weekend, Wimbledon.
Let's talk about that. Let's take a quick break and let's go outside the U.S. because we don't play tennis and we don't play soccer. And let's go outside the U.S. and talk about tennis and soccer when we come back. Under the Bus, presented by Hudson's on the Docks. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. We've trashed the All-Star game pretty much. We never did really pick what the worst All-Star game was. I think it's the NFL.
I see the worst.
The worst kind of.
Which sport?
Which sport is it?
I agree.
Let's do that real quick. I said the NFL.
Yeah, NFL.
Yeah. Okay. Even more than hockey or basketball. All right. None of them are much anymore. All right. Let's talk Wimbledon. I watched Wimbledon to see the princess, to see our friend Stan Smith
from Hilton Head.
From Hilton Head,
sitting right behind the princess
sitting right behind.
The royal box.
He has done a magnificent job of. I mean, he only won it once.
Right.
I was there.
And you were there?
I wrote the story.
And turning that into he's always there.
Yeah.
He's not just a shoe.
He is not just a shoe, as his biography says, and he made it. And
well, let's talk
Tom
about
Cruise
who
was
they
a row
watched.
behind him. But let's talk
about who they watched. Carlos Alvarez. Alcaraz, what did I say? Alvarez. I'm thinking baseball. So Alcaraz beat Djokovic.
Yeah.
Again, of course, he struggled to beat him last year in a 5-set final. This year, he just took him apart. The first 2 sets, he just kind of embarrassed him. And it was like he played around in the third set, beat him in straights this year. It's the first time I've really noticed that Joker looks old. He looked old playing Alcaraz. And maybe it's because he's so good. I mean, it's not like Djokovic was playing badly. I mean, he would hit 2 or 3 winners a point, and the ball kept coming back.
A number of other years, Djokovic wins with that effort.
Probably, I don't know.
But not against Alcaraz, and certainly not this year.
Well, the guy, that's his 4th major. It's his second Wimbledon in a row. He also won Paris this year. Very few people won Paris and Wimbledon the same year. And they're Hall of Famers. They're Rod Laver. They're Djokovic, Nadal, Federer. They're also my boy Bjorn Borg, who did it 3 times.
Wow!
3 times
won them both.
In a row.
Wow!
And I was there for all of that. I just want to bring up one other thing though, and I should have brought it up last week when we were talking about Paris. You know, you went to Paris and Wimbledon almost every year and did the story for Sports Illustrated, and the only year I missed was 1983 at Roland Garros. I'm in Paris, and my wife and I, we have Chelsea, who you know, was 1 year old, and we're staying in an apartment in Paris, and I got the stomach flu the morning of the final, and I couldn't even walk.
Wow!
And seriously, I watched the final on TV from my apartment where I wrote the story. I couldn't even go out to the tennis.
But so Collins at least gave you some material to work with, though, right?
So I hung in, but that's my sick at the final story.
Okay, the Olympics are at Roland Garros, the tennis. Djokovic has said the only thing really he hasn't won is an Olympic gold medal. In fact, he's been beaten in the Olympics by some mediocre players, or world class, obviously, but not as highly thought of. So does this inspire him to do?
Well, I think so, and apparently the Olympics have inspired everybody. Nadal is saying that he wants to play in the Olympics. You know, he hasn't played all year; he's been injured, but he's been pointing to play. Because it's on clay, of course, that's his surface. He's won, 14 French Opens. But, Alcaraz looks to me, he could dominate the sport for years. One other guy, Yannick Sinner, the redheaded Italian, has played him really tough. And he's like 22. And Sinner, they've played 9 times already. And Alcaraz is up 5-4 in their head-to-head matches.
Wow. Does Alcaraz? Can we start the talk of him with those big 3 and with the all-time greats, or does he still need to win some?
Well, he's 4-0, right? 21.
He's 4-0 in majors.
In majors, he's won 4 majors.
Right.
I have a connection with him, by the way. It's a very, very sort of connection. His coach is a guy named Juan Carlos Ferrero, and he's been. Carlito Alcaraz went to his camp as a young kid, like 14, 15. He's been with him since. Well, it's not that long. But Juan Carlos Ferrero won the French Open. He's a real slender guy, and he's very quick. He had a great nickname, the Mosquito. They called Ferrero the Mosquito. And you see him in the box. Alcaraz looks to his box more than any of the great players over the years, than any player I remember. And apparently the Mosquito has gotten him to where he is, and he trusts him, and they
why is his nickname
him.
Mosquito?
Well, because he was so slender, he's so skinny. He's only about 150 pounds. If you see him now, you can't believe this guy was a major champion.
Wow.
But he also got the U.S. Open final one year, and Andy Roddick beat the Mosquito in the final.
Anybody out of the bus from Wimbledon?
No, but I think age is, talking about the difference here. The youth is just winning out. Experience goes a long way, but when you're young and good.
Yeah, he has 15 years younger than Djokovic.
That's a huge difference.
Age is undefeated in sports.
It was funny, of course, he's from Spain, and later in the day, Spain played England in the final Euros,
right?
And they asked, afterwards they asked in his speech, they were talking to Alcaraz about what are you going to do about the football tonight. He said, well, I don't know where I'm going to watch it, but he said, I'll be watching him because I like him. I'm going to root for him. But I did my job.
I did my job.
Winning.
And then the soccer team did its job and took care of England. Exciting. I tell you what, national soccer or worldwide soccer like that and like the Copa, the soccer is usually really good, and the atmosphere
is amazing.
It's just
they're
so
nuts.
terrific.
The Copa, they're nuts.
And then there's another thing where the national anthem at the All-Star game. Do you notice nobody was singing? None of the players. Well, a lot of them are not from.
But in soccer,
America,
all of them sing.
They've all got their arms around each other's shoulders, and they're all singing the country's national anthem.
Cool.
I think that's
well, if I can mention England for a minute, they invented soccer. English invented soccer, and somehow they spread all their coaches all around the world.
Wait a minute, Messi invented soccer,
and they've
Pele invented
somehow the English who invented soccer have forgotten how to play it with aggression and offensive. They're all defensive play, and that's why they get beat in these finals. But I want to point out that in the semifinal, England is playing the Netherlands, and they're about to get beat, and they bring on. That's why substitutes, deep teams, are so much better than teams that don't have a lot of depth in soccer, because substitutions really mean a lot. They bring on these guys who are fresh and they score. A guy named Ollie Watkins, they brought on him, England, and brought him in. He scored in the last minute of the game to send England to the finals.
Right.
If one more personal note,
Ollie all Watkins, the personal notes you want. That's what this show is for.
Ollie Watkins is the son of Torquay, which is a fashionable seaside resort in Devon. It's the birthplace of Agatha Christie. Okay. Agatha Christie. All right.
She was a sports writer for.
Well, come on, she was a writer. But on my second, about my second summer in Wimbledon, and I was just a young guy, and I was basically doing tourist stuff, and I wanted to go to a hotel named Claridge's, because it's a very famous hotel where all the celebrities and all the writers stayed and lived sometime. I mean, Bing Crosby and Mick Jagger, everybody from stayed in this hotel, including like Cary Grant, Agatha Christie. So I was there, and I went to the hotel. I just wanted to see it and get some, get the vibe. And I went in, and they had a guy in the lobby that would show people around. And he started showing me around. There's this big dining room. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This big dining room, totally empty, except a little old lady is over in the corner having tea. And I said, who is that? He said, oh, she comes down every day for her tea. And I said, well, who is that? He said, that's Miss Christie. It was Agatha Christie.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. I'll never forget that to me.
Did you go over and talk to her?
I didn't. I didn't want to bother. I mean, he actually told me.
Could have put you in a murder mystery.
Don't bother.
Yeah.
She's not to be bothered. But she was in her 80s at that point. I mean, she died a few years later, but I just...
That's terrific stuff. Yeah. You're brushed with literary greatness. That's pretty good stuff.
But Spain was the best team.
Yeah.
And,
and Argentina was probably the best team in the Copa to win it.
I don't know why they don't play each other. They should have the Euro champion.
They did that.
They have the Euro champion and the Copa America champion play each other.
Not here. Just don't have it be in the U.S.
Because that was a really bad look, Rich, because we're going to host the World Cup in 2 years.
They delayed the game for over an hour because of the crowd.
Now, you're talking Charlotte or Miami? Because Charlotte.
I'm talking about Miami.
But the semifinal in Charlotte.
Was nuts too.
Uruguay players are going in the stands to battle Colombia's spectators.
Right.
And it was there, and
it's nuts.
They blamed security for that too. U.S. security didn't handle that either. That's what they.
But in Miami, they supposedly had 800 policemen on duty that day, and they had to start the game over an hour later.
Well, they were overwhelmed by.
They climbed over the fences. People who had tickets didn't even get to sit in their seats.
Yeah.
Because most of the people that stormed the gates did not have tickets.
Right.
No.
And these fans come from all over. Mostly, where are they from? Colombia, or probably.
Yeah. A lot of Colombians. Yeah.
We had 27 people arrested. 27 people arrested. And then the president of the soccer's son was arrested.
Did you see the scenes of it?
Yeah,
it was scary.
They were going through ceiling tiles and everything else. So think about that to see it.
Hopefully,
it's a soccer match. It's a soccer match.
Well, but that, I mean
I know how
that's the
important it is.
passion.
I know how important it is.
Well, and as I said, in the semifinal was scary enough because the Uruguayan players going in the stands. Uruguay has a historically great player named Sanchez. His name is Luis Suarez. And his legacy is with Barcelona. He played with Messi there. He played with Neymar there. They won a whole bunch of championships. But now he's about 37. He's with Uruguay. But his nickname is El Pistolero, the gunman. Because, I mean, he's been arrested for all kind of stuff. And if he goes in the stands, you know, his problems have come. They've accused him of biting, of cheating, of gambling on and this guy is still with the Uruguayan team. If he'd have gone into the stands, you don't mess with El Pistolero, right? I mean, come on.
You don't mess with that name. The name scares me.
You guys found us a U.S. soccer coach yet? No.
Well, we can.
Gareth Southgate is available.
He's now gone. They're all gone.
He's retired from the British side. So.
Well, have we been on since Greg Berhalter was fired? I guess we have.
It was about this time. He was actually fired a month ago.
We talked about it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But Southgate, as you said, departed this week from the England team, which was kind of a surprise, although a lot of people criticize him for being conservative. The Mexican Association fired Jaime Lozano just yesterday, maybe. Okay. All these coaches are going, the dream hire.
Tough job. I can't imagine.
But why is it always the coach's fault?
Yeah.
How about get better players?
Spoken like a coach. Huh?
Well, the dream hire for us, who we've said all along, is a guy named Jurgen Klopp,
who
he just retired after 9 years.
I think he's
coaching.
already said no.
He's been coaching 9 years at Liverpool. He said he was tired. He's been at Liverpool for 9 years, where he discovered the Beatles, and then no, that's not right. But Berhalter, our guy, was paid $2.3 million a year.
Yeah.
Klopp was paid $50 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're going to have to step up the game.
Do the math.
Yeah.
We're going to need a little help from our friends.
So if we paid them more money, we would have more success?
Well, absolutely. If you pay guys more money, we're going to get to that in a moment. How a Celtic gave up $130 million.
That's a Nick. Excuse me.
Or a Nick. I'm sorry, and that's a big deal. We'll get to that. In fact, we'll get to that next. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna still talk about overseas sports because it's Open Championship week, and then we're gonna talk about the Lakers. We're gonna come back home and throw them under the bus again as we continue Under the Bus. We welcome you back to Under the Bus, presented by Hudson's on the Docks, hudsonsonthedocks.com, by the way, if you want to look up how fabulous that place is on Hilton Head Island. Great seafood, great atmosphere, all that good stuff. We've trashed a lot of people, and we're just now
Let's get to basketball.
Well, we're going to get to basketball in just a second. Real quick, though, let's get the British Open out of the way. The British Open is this weekend. I call it the British Open so that you understand.
They call it the
Open Championship.
Arrogant. The Open Championship.
Come on
now. Who you got? Anybody? You got a favorite? You got somebody?
I don't think Scotty's going to win.
Okay. Ooh.
Scotty Scheffler?
Yeah.
He's almost disappeared from sight.
Yeah, we haven't seen him since.
He might be in jail.
Who got?
Don't do that.
Who got into it with Tiger, my boy? Colin Montgomerie.
That's the story I want to tell you. I want to throw Monty under the bus. First of all, he is one of the great interviews of all time.
Oh yeah, I know.
Has always been.
He's one of the great Ryder Cup players of all time.
And a great Ryder Cup player, but he never won a major. And that still bothers him, and it obviously bothers Tiger, because this last week they asked Monty about Tiger, and he says, "Well, Monty says, well, he should retire. He's not going to be competitive. Right. He's not competitive anymore." He said out loud,
"He said we're more realistic."
Yeah,
what he said.
He said out loud what a lot of people have been thinking, but are not going to say. So they get Tiger's news conference, and they ask him about what Monty said, and Tiger, who is not usually a very good quote, not usually forthcoming in giving you stuff.
Except when he's got 2 days to figure it out.
Well, and he had a little time to work on this.
Yeah.
And this is almost as good as when he said after beating Stephen Ames, his only response was 9-8 when Ames said he was beatable. He said about Monty, he says, well, because he says, I get to play here until I'm 60. Those are the rules.
I've won a major.
I've won this one. I can play till I'm 60. Monty can't play until he's 60. Basically inferring that he hadn't won it.
He says Monty hasn't got that choice.
Yeah, I have that choice. Yeah. So anyway,
poor Monty. What is he going after Tiger for? Come on.
Well, because he is always way too honest when he should have just shut up. He was a little bit too honest. So you don't like Scheffler?
I'm picking Rory McIlroy.
Does Rory win it?
Remember him?
Yeah.
That's what I'm picking.
All right. DeChambeau, no. How about the kid McIntyre who wins the Scottish Open? How cool was that? Birdies the last 2 holes. He won the Canadian Open with his dad on the bag. That was such a great story.
And he put a record-breaking amount of beer in the cup or something.
Probably. And probably then drank it.
Or Scotch whiskey.
Bobby McIntyre can do a few things. He's going to be worn out.
I think
getting across Scotland.
I don't think he'll do it.
Bobby Mac.
We all picked Brian Harman. We weren't with the show last year when we all picked him to win. So that's what I'm doing is I'm taking give me somebody off the radar. Give me outside the top 20, inside the top 40. Somebody kind of in the middle. I think we get a first-time winner too. I think we get a first-time.
You got to wake up early to watch this thing.
1:30 in the morning. How good is that? Yeah. I love it.
You'll still be up.
Yeah, you'll still be up. You can fall asleep. There's nothing better to fall asleep to than golf on TV,
let's move
right?
to international basketball. Okay,
yes,
we've done enough with the British Open, the Open Championship.
Yes.
Today we're talking on Wednesday about noon.
Yeah.
The U.S. national team is playing Serbia, playing the Joker, and he's been apparently scouting our team, watching all our games. Yeah, the other Joker, but. Rich, we haven't really talked about the sort of mini controversy about the national team when
Leonard,
what's his name, Kawhi Leonard, your favorite injured player, they sent him home basically. Right. I don't think he wanted to go. They sent him home. I
think he wanted to stay, but
they chose Derek White from the Celtics,
right,
which caused a little controversy.
Well, Brown was
Jaylen Brown.
He's the MVP of the NBA championship. Not that means that you should be on the Olympic team, but
the finals and the conference.
I know he's such a darn good player. How can they not pick him? He's terrific. I think he's Celtics' best player over Tatum.
Well, they said they wanted White for defense.
Correct.
But Brown can guard anybody.
Sure. Well, yeah, I was shocked that White was chosen over Brown. Even Brunson could have been considered for the Knicks. But White...
Yeah, somehow they're trying to keep Brunson off the team. And Jaylen Brown had a few words. He said this is a Nike deal.
Yes, he did.
Because he's not a Nike player, and White is.
Yep.
And, he sent out tweets to Nike saying, what is up, Nike?
Right.
So he didn't take this lying down. But poor Jaylen Brown. Now he's stateside. He didn't make the national team. He's over watching the Summer League.
Right.
And here comes, he's watching Bronnie James. Your favorite college.
Well, he's not your favorite. He's not your favorite injured player. We know who that is now.
Favorite player under contract.
Yeah.
And he's watching Bronnie James play. I'm sure you saw this. And he's sitting with a couple of women from the WNBA. And Jaylen Brown says after watching Bronnie, he mouths to one of the gals sitting next to him. He mouths, "He's not an NBA player. He's not a pro."
Which is so true.
He actually said,
"It's so true.
I don't think he's a pro." And apparently somebody took video of this, so he's got him saying that. No audio, but you could tell exactly what he said.
Didn't take much lip reading to conquer that one.
Yeah, and the internet went crazy.
They trashed him?
Well, they kind of said, he shouldn't have said that about Bronnie, but then other people say that's exactly what people are saying and seeing. He's making, what is he, 0 for 15?
So he's played there's 2 NBA Summer League games, 2 exhibitions before that. So in 4 games from the three-point line, he's 0 for 15. I would say each one of us could make 1.
Well,
0 for 15, and then he's shooting 27%.
I could be at least that good, yeah.
27%
regular balls.
Yeah. Right.
Well, he's, in addition to be a terrible shooter, though, which he apparently is, all these number nerds who make up these, they judge a player and his contribution to the game while he's in the game. Bronnie's numbers on that are ridiculously stupid. I mean, they're so far behind anybody else. He's not an NBA player.
He's not. Well, everybody's like, some people are surprised like he's not doing well. What are they surprised about? He averaged 4.5 points a game last year. Didn't even start
for a college team that wasn't that good.
Right. He can't shoot. Right. He can't shoot.
But to get back to Jaylen Brown, poor Jaylen is sitting there talking.
But he told the truth.
But he's just watching the game, and he says, Bronnie's not a pro, and he doesn't know somebody's taking video of the guy, and he has to come out the next day. And he came out the next day and put it on Twitter. He didn't apologize, and he didn't deny what he said. He basically said good for LeBron to flex and get his son on this team, and I wish Bronnie the best of luck. And, he's very political about it.
Right.
But if there's another injury on the national team, you think Jaylen Brown's got a shot? He's got no shot. I mean, you think LeBron's going to be in charge of that, right?
He'll be in charge of that, sure, of course.
LeBron's probably still angry at him for saying
who's
that.
next on the Nike endorsement list? Probably gets that job if somebody gets hurt, right? Yeah.
Well, let me just quote from Bronnie. After they interview him all the time after games. This is what he said. I just feel like I'm in a little slump right now. Well, slump right now. He's been in a slump for his whole life.
It's a lifetime.
Shooting the ball, he can't shoot.
It's a lifetime.
He can defend. Now he definitely can defend. He's a good defense player. But my goodness.
Well, then maybe he should be on the Olympic team because he's the one guy who might play some defense.
But there's 100 guys that can defend. It's a joke. The Lakers organization's a joke.
Here we go.
It's a joke.
Which is weekly.
So
Lakers.
They sign Bronnie. They draft him. Has no business being in the NBA. No business.
Yeah.
They hired JJ.
He's hired who?
He's hired a woman to be an assistant. I have nothing against the woman being a coach. I mean, there are great women coaches out there.
But I have everything against a Duke woman.
Well, I know that. So I mean, she was a great player at Duke. But what is her background in coaching? She's coached in the G League, I believe she's coached. But you're going to tell me, everybody talks about...
She's not Becky Hammon, is what you're saying.
Correct, she's not. Not that a woman can't do that, they can.
Right.
But what is her background to coach in the NBA? And we always talk about who's going to coach, who's LeBron going to listen to? LeBron and Anthony Davis is going to listen to her? When she teaches them, you're turning your shoulder on your shot, whatever they tell her.
Moving on from the Lakers.
Under the bus.
Under the bus, Lakers every week.
Every week.
Staying with women and staying with controversy, how about Caitlin Clark, another controversy figure, a women's figure? Her team plays the Minnesota Lynx last week. And the Minnesota Lynx coach is Cheryl Reeves, who is also the national team coach. Right. And they asked Cheryl before the game, they asked her, what about Caitlin's future with the national team? And there's been controversy. And her answer to that layup question was, what the hell should I care about answering a question about the national team? Well, maybe because you're the national team coach and you're going to ask that question 80 times in Paris next week. So, I mean, and then of course, Caitlin...
Practice the answer.
Caitlin beats the Lynx.
Right, sure.
And then afterwards, she kind of tones down and says, well, she's brought a lot of attention to our league. Really? But Reeves was one of the people that when Caitlin Clark came in the league, when she was drafted, she got all this attention. Reeves kind of went back at that and said, listen, this league is not a one-woman league.
Which is true. Mm-hmm. But she's brought so much attention. And she gets hammered. She didn't bring all this on to herself.
No.
All this PR and all this stuff, she's just going out and playing basketball, and everybody's giving her a hard time. She's the NBA. I've actually watched it now. Yeah. Just because of the interest about her.
And she'll get a little break. Does the WNBA take a break for the Olympics? At least for the. They've got
I would imagine. Yeah.
She's maybe going to get some time off.
Yeah, about a week though, right? Because they're still playing.
I think they get it all done in a week. But I'm saying
but why does the coach of our national team? She's going to go to Paris now, and they're going to ask her all about it. That's all anybody's going to ask about this women's team is, where is Caitlin Clark? And I'm asking the same question.
And as
I've said before, I think it's a missed opportunity.
It is a missed opportunity.
For women's basketball, absolutely. Okay, last.
You got under the bus? I got one.
Last under the bus.
I got one. Speaking of missed opportunity, with all the national discussion about the seriousness of drunken driving, I give you Mike Gundy, the Oklahoma State football coach, who's star running back's name, a guy named Ollie Gordon,
yes.
who was arrested for DUI and blah, blah, blah. So they have press day, and Gundy, they ask him about his kid because he's going to play him. There's no suspension,
right.
There's no discipline, there's no nothing. He said, well, I'm doing what we, and he said, we think is best for Oklahoma State football. Well, of course it's best for Oklahoma State football. They're trying to win the game.
Right.
And he said, if there's any punishment, I'm going to make him carry 50 times the first game. And he says, I looked up the DUI, the level of liquor that you can have in your size, whatever. And he said he's gotten two or three beers he had. He said, I've done that 1,000 times. I should have been arrested 1,000 times as Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the same guy.
He's our leader. He's a man.
He's 50.
This is the same guy. This is the same guy. He got famous for it in I think it was 07.
When he was 40 years old.
Yeah, he said the press was going after some of his players, and he said, "Don't go after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. Yeah. Come after me. I'm 40. I'm a man."
50.
Now he's 57.
Okay.
He's 57. I'll go after him and say, Mike Gundy, you may still be a man, but you're also still a freaking idiot.
Just saying what he said. Well, he's come back, He said he didn't mean it that way.
Of course, he had to come back.
Yeah,
he had to come back.
Absolutely,
but, I think his PR guy.
It's happened 1,000 times is what he's saying.
He does not have a filter, though.
No, not at all.
And you'd think at 57, this many years, Oklahoma State's greatest coach of all time, that he's would learn.
Have a little more sense.
Well, and now somebody, I think it was the Los Angeles Times, came out and said, well, now we know some more about Mike Gundy. We know he's been arrested 1,000 times for drunken driving.
Should have. Yeah.
All right,
yes,
I'm going to throw my Yankees under the bus.
Again.
The last game on Sunday before the All-Star game, they down 3-2 against Baltimore, could sweep Baltimore, be in first place. Right. Ben Rice, the rookie, hits a 3-run home run in the top of the ninth, puts them up 5-3.
You're jumping up and down.
I am jumping up and down. I really am. I'm watching it. Even my wife's watching it, believe it or not. And they bring Clay Holmes, and I said to myself, we're in trouble.
All-star pitcher.
He's an all-star pitcher. He's our closer. And it's the 7th, 8th, and 9th batters in lineup coming up. He walks 2 of them. Walks 2 of them. Come on now, you're a Major League Baseball pitcher. Getting paid millions of dollars. You walk to 7th and 8th or 7th and 9th. Gives up 2 hits, gets 2 outs, okay. And then we have Little League 101. Hit to Schwolpe, shortstop. 2 outs. Bobbles the ball right at him. But he laid back on it. He missed it. He should have charged the ball. And then our man Alex in left field. He hits it right to him, and he takes a step in, and you can see, we're in trouble here. And he turns and slips, and it falls down, and they win the game, 6-5. Literally, I don't even see that in Little League happen like that. I see errors, obviously, but not like, come on, you're a Major League Baseball team. You're one of the best teams in the major leagues.
To tie all of this up then, fire the manager, right?
Rich has 10 seconds to put John Calipari under the bus. I'm surprised you don't blame the Yankee situation on Calipari.
Calipari was at the game. He was at the game.
He was at the game. He was watching it, maybe. Even if he was just watching it. Guys, it's been a lot of fun.
As always.
Appreciate the support of Hudson's on the Docks. We want to thank Justin Jarrett, Trey, and Mahogany for putting this show together, and we thank you for paying attention to us for 40-some minutes. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back next week because there are going to be a whole lot more people getting thrown under the bus.
But no horse pies.
Under the Bus is a production of the Loco Media Network and is filmed on the Hilton Head Island campus of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. The executive producer is Justin Jarrett, with assistance from Trey Ramsey, Mahogany Hickman, and Adam Carroll.